Why don't you start?
I am going to start.
Why don't you start?
I will.
Why don't you start and tell people what you think is going on today, and then I'll say what's actually going on.
It's Payday Friday, which is Christmas for your boy.
That's a fact.
So I'm driving in, and this is where the origin is. I put out a tweet because I'm listening to Shalimar the second time around, and I went to Twitter and IG, and I put music is the soul. So I come in here, and nobody knows Matt Steinman's better than Daryl the Guru Johnson. I'll die on that hill. And it took me, shout out Monte, 20 seconds to feel like something's up with my boy. And I think it's that I put out the tweet that music is the soul.
It's not the first room you misread.
Oh, boy. So I'm off.
I didn't even see any tweet like that.
Well, then what's up with you, buddy? We love you.
There's nothing up with me. You've now become the guy 7 times today who said, Steiny, what's wrong?
Nothing.
Nothing's wrong.
The boss
Steiny, what's wrong? Nothing's wrong.
All right, we're good.
There's something we're going to get to the bottom of these 4 hours.
Well, you'll tell us something that happened.
There's
Steiny.
nothing wrong.
This ain't the Payday Friday, Steiny.
No, there's nothing wrong. I'm
irritated.
I'm excited to get into,
let's do it.
Can the Warriors make a championship run for the 9th time in a row?
No, I was thinking Brandon Aiyuk.
No, they can do
the
it.
Ryan Clark, Tiki Barber. We got all type of other stuff outside of the Warriors.
The Oklahoma City Thunder last night beat the Dallas Mavericks. But something's wrong with the Thunder. Something doesn't add up with the Thunder, but the Warriors are sitting pretty. That's what's bothering me.
Oh, no, I don't know where you heard the Warriors are sitting pretty.
Was that you?
Yeah. Well, sorry.
Yeah,
I don't know where you heard the Warriors are sitting pretty because that didn't come from your boy. You look good today. It's payday. Let's go.
I have the same shirt on I wore yesterday.
Oh, boy. Now we're getting to the truth.
And my boss said, what's going on with these pants? There's like this stuff coming. He's like, oh, that means you're washing them too much.
Oh, okay. All right.
I guess stuff like, looks a little like dandruff.
No, you look good, though.
I know.
Oh, boy.
Here's a question for you.
What you got, partner?
Okay, you did say one thing today. You know what the first thing you said to me was? What, do you got curfew today?
Oh, yeah.
That was the first thing you said to me.
Because you look preoccupied.
The first thing he said to me.
It's St. Patty's Day to me.
Do you have curfew today? When do I have curfew?
Yeah,
I'm a grown man.
I'll give you that. I'll call you Clint Eastwood.
Curfew.
Let's do it.
I set curfews for others.
This is, real quick, St. Patty's Friday. It's actually on Sunday, but we'll celebrate today.
Otherwise known as amateur hour.
Oh,
it's like New Year's Eve. You don't want to
John Curley texted us last night. The courtesy of that text.
I'm getting ready to drill him, too. He's on my bad list, too.
I don't know if that's it. But what you got? What do we have today?
I worked with John Curley once 4 years ago, and he texts me every day. It's like, we're not.
I love him. That's my brother, man.
Is he? Do we not? Hopefully he's not listening.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Oh, I got one for you.
Give it to me.
All right. So Jonathan Kuminga did an interview recently.
JK.
Where he said he wants to be a warrior for life. He's in his 3rd year. Brandon Aiyuk is in his 4th year. Contract coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Why does he have interest in Jacksonville? Why does his camp have interest in Jacksonville? Why does one guy want to be a warrior for life and the other guy not want to be a Niner for life? I mean, they both are young players. They both had some growing pains.
Yeah.
A little bit of the doghouse for each one. Both of them emerged. Now both of them are coming into stardom. How come one guy wants to be here and one guy, doesn't look like he does?
Well, okay, you asked me, I'll take a crack at it and we'll throw it to the fans. Jonathan Kuminga went Clint Eastwood in regard to calling out his coach and what he deemed a lack of playing time. And he took the bull by the horns, regardless if you think he was ready or not. It worked out. And now he's on the cusp of stardom. Jonathan Kuminga. But if we were to interview him last year after that Lakers series, when we saw his representation tell the Warriors, dude, what's up with my client? So he's been there. That was the bottom. Now, shout out Drake. Now he's back. Steiny, Brandon Aiyuk. we got to be careful here because we talked about it. His brother, his girlfriend, they alluded to maybe he's not happy, but I look at the numbers. I don't think he's being utilized, Brandon Aiyuk, enough. And on that stage, which we saw in the Super Bowl against Kansas City, I think a guy like Brandon Aiyuk, as gifted as he is, may be getting tired of Steiny, the pedestrian way he's utilized because they got McCaffrey, they got Debo. I don't know, but I guess we got to be careful that I know there's noise and smoke that he wants to get up out of town.
Yeah, I think it's got less to do with the player and more to do with the organization. I think if you look at the Golden State Warriors, they've had players who have alluded to wanting to retire here. Steph has at one point or another, Clay, Draymond. Now Kuminga's 21.
And it's going well now, right? I mean, man.
To me, it's got to do with the organization. There's something about the Warriors organization that is a little bit different than the 49ers. And I think it's that the Warriors feel more like a family. Like, I think whether you're a player or a fan, if you look at the 49ers organization, they're more cutthroat than the Warriors. They're more impersonal than the 49ers. Look at Kerr versus Shanahan. Like, Steve Kerr always talks about family, and look at how they treated Wiggins, and look at how all that stuff happens. The 49ers, I mean, they got a player, Brandon Aiyuk, who started out a little slow, was in the doghouse. Now he's emerged as a team leader. I was listening to banter earlier today, and I was like, yeah, that's true. I mean, they draft Aiyuk, he's got to do some things better, so he's not playing. Then he plays. Then he gets good. Then he becomes a team leader. Now he's one of the top 10 receivers in the league. It's like, pay him. Like, that's what you do. You pay a guy like that. But instead, the 49ers are, can we go out and maybe lose Aiyuk and get a guy in here at less money? Or, you know what? Debo Samuel, it's just, I think the 49ers operate as more of a business than the Warriors. Not that the Warriors don't operate as a business, but I'll never forget when the 49ers ended up giving Kaepernick his contract. Mm-hmm. Everybody was talking about, did you see what Parag put in there? There's not as much guaranteed money as you think. There's not as many guaranteed years as you think. It's not as big as you think. They can get out of it if you think. It's like there's something to that, I think.
But it hasn't affected winning, Steiny. Well, I'm not saying you're not wrong at all.
Well,
but it hasn't affected.
Okay, I'll take your side. Maybe it's the reason they haven't won a Super Bowl. Some intangible you can't measure. I mean, do I believe that? No. But maybe that's why, it's like Nick Bosa. Why did he hold out for so long? It's like there's something different about the way the 49ers operate and the way the Warriors operate. And then I go back to the Giants, and to me, they're like the Niners, only they're lousy. But before, when they had Bochy, they were family. They were a great mix.
Yep. So I'm ashamed. I hear you. I'm ashamed that I just bypassed the money part from Brandon Aiyuk. That just started. We're only a week or month of him not getting his new deal when they can do it. So I really believe this is a production thing. This is him saying, what the F, and you're not going to feed me or let me eat, Steiny, and we still lose? I mean, he wouldn't be the first young stud to think like that if that's what's on his mind. But I don't know why I'm not taking these reports serious, but I need to because that's the reality. And I'm blown away that the Niners would think that they got enough playmakers or they got enough firepower weaponry to withstand a trade of Brandon Aiyuk if that were to come to fruition.
888-957-9570 is the number. Why does Jonathan Kuminga want to be a Warrior for life? That's what somebody asked me earlier today. Why do you think and my first thing was, well, I think maybe it has something to do with he knows he might get paid this offseason, and it's a nice thing to say. But then I read the story in The Athletic by Daniel Brown about Kuminga and his kind of his personal coach and how great of a relationship they have. And they just started thinking about the Niners. There is something impersonal about the Niners. There's something impersonal about, like, Joe Lacob is the owner of the Niners. I mean, Joe Lacob's the owner of the Warriors. Everybody knows who Joe Lacob is. And I get it. Basketball teams aren't as big as 40. You think a lot of the players know who Jed York is and have a relationship with him? I doubt it. I doubt it.
Is that by design?
Well, I don't know. It might be the nature of having 55 guys on a team rather than 15. But it also is just kind of what I'm talking about. Like the 49ers, like they're all corporate.
Wow.
There's no personal touch to the Niners.
Okay, and I'll say this, you got me thinking.
And maybe that's why we're looking at Brandon Aiyuk and he says, "Yeah, I have interest in another team."
He ain't saying I want to be a Niner for life.
Exactly. Why not? Maybe it's a difference between the two organizations that are run.
Every good court hearing, Steiny, the attorneys, they fact find and they present facts to the evidence. I'm asking you in your world right now with how you feel about what's going on with the Niners. I love the corporate word, but I'm telling you, this is just my 2 cents. I'm not saying Wilkes didn't deserve to get fired, but why did you hire him? Okay. 8, I just don't like the way it was handled. And me personally, Steiny, I was turned off. I thought it was handled a bit cold. Would you take that as, or are you saying, Goo, I ain't talking about stuff like that? Because I wonder if some guys on that team were turned off the way that was handled, the way that Bosa felt he could throw shade at. We don't, like, if you're right, maybe that stuff is going on. Like, there's a way to dismiss people, and then there's a way to blame people.
It's exactly what I'm talking about, that kind of thing. And I'll tell you what, you want a little more what I'm talking about is Evan shared a link to a story in the Chronicle from Michael Silver. And read the whole thing. And the first thing I said was, there are no quotes in this story. And it doesn't matter, it's a column. But the point is, it's the story's all about how Kyle Shanahan, has looked himself in the mirror and said, we probably didn't even deserve to get to the Super Bowl the way we played in the playoffs.
Wow,
we probably didn't even deserve to get there the way we played.
That's real.
But then you continue to read, and what you really find out is, and it's about how Kyle, he keeps it real with everybody, even himself. It's like, it's kind of clear in that article that he thinks they didn't win the Super Bowl because of Steve Wilkes and the defense.
Wow. And then
nowhere in the story,
did he take his ownership and say,
no, there was no quotes. It's just about how Shanahan's been real honest with himself, and he's talking to people inside the building saying, we probably need to get a lot better. We maybe didn't even deserve to go to the Super Bowl. But let's just take a look at it. Let's take a look at the bottom line. They haven't made one offensive move. All their moves have been on defense.
Yeah. Devondre Campbell from Green Bay. Right. They just got him this morning.
So that tells you who Kyle Shanahan thinks was at fault in the Super Bowl. Right. The defense.
Yeah. Well, you need to address that O-line in the draft. But I hear you talking. I hear you talk. Like, I was turned off, and I just wonder if some players were.
888-957-9570 is the number. I just got to thinking, why does Jonathan Kuminga, who isn't even as established as Brandon Aiyuk right now, Aiyuk's got one more year, and Aiyuk put a really good year under his belt. Kuminga's emerging this year. His first year, he's really kind of emerging. Why does Kuminga want to be here for life, but we keep hearing that Brandon Aiyuk and his family aren't happy with him being here, and maybe he is looking for a change of scenery and
more action on the field? Well, I'll say this, the best part about the Kuminga situation is he went through something, and he still wants to be here for life. And I know you can come on, Steiny, but
so did Aiyuk, and that's why I'm saying, why didn't he come? He was in Kyle's doghouse. He emerged.
Yes, he did.
Now they talk about him as a leader. They love this guy as a leader of the team. Well, then why wouldn't you just pay him then? And I'm not saying they should, but why Why is Aiyuk not gung-ho about being a 49er when he's had nothing but success here for 4 years, team-wide?
And I do wonder, again, Steiny, because I'm trying to fight the feeling. How does a report, like there's mutual interest? So that means Brandon, not his brother, not his girlfriend, but he feels like he would be up, hey, Jacksonville, I ain't mad, catching passes from Lawrence. So we'll see. But the Jonathan Kuminga thing to me, again, you cannot overlook the fact that Kobe Bryant's his hero, his idol, his basketball idol. And Monty told us yesterday when we had him on, Monty Poole, Kobe stayed in one uniform. And I'm not saying that to say Jonathan Kuminga that means he's going to do that and he doesn't like where he's at. But if I'm Jonathan Kuminga, I know Steph Curry doesn't have 8 more years. I could be the guy until we get there. It's right there. If I told you what's the one young commodity the Warriors have right now, Helen Keller could tell you it's Jonathan Kuminga.
Deebo Samuel scrubbed his social media when he was negotiating. Nick Bosa held out.
He didn't scrub his.
My point is why?